Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video and welcome back Eddie Howe. That's right, Eddie Howe is back in training with Newcastle United as of today and will be on the touchline for Newcastle this Saturday against Ipswich. I have to say, on a non-footballing side, very happy to hear that Eddie Howe's feeling better. Obviously, had been in hospital with pneumonia, has been missing games, missing training. To be honest, I didn't think he would be back maybe until the summer or next season. So to hear he's back is great. The man who's won us our first trophy in a very long time. Happy to hear that he is feeling better. On a footballing side, it's perfect timing. Jason Tindall, great game against Manchester United, great game against Crystal Palace. Had our arses kicked at the weekend. This Saturday, Ipswich at home, 3 o'clock kickoff. Just to add a little bit more to that, Eddie Howe, the main man, back on the sideline as well. So cannot wait for that game. I will be there, posting content as always, vlog, reaction. Hopefully, can be 3 points and some goals for us this weekend. So if you're not subscribed, be sure to do so. And while we're on the topic of Ipswich, the team that, and I will say generally, 3 teams came up. 3 teams are going back down again. I don't think it's great for the league. I don't think it's great for the Premier League. I don't think it's great for the Championship teams to come up and then have to fight financial battles to be able to spend money. Different topic. But Newcastle, as of today, really have been linked with over the last few weeks. But today, by the Telegraph, by Luke Edwards, saying that Newcastle are in for the Ipswich striker Liam Delap, the man, ex-Man City man, who was reported to have a £30 million release clause on his contract, and Newcastle are interested. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Newcastle generally looking at strikers this transfer window, because he's not the only player we've been linked to. I'm looking forward to the window. I am looking forward to this summer window. I'm looking forward to seeing how we finish this season. First trophy in years. We're playing playing some form of European football. I would love it to be Champions League, and there's no denying from a club point of view, for a progress point of view, having Champions League doesn't just add money to the pot. It also adds just that extra lure of bringing players in, because talking about strikers, teams are looking for a striker. Isak's got huge interest from all sorts of clubs. We're not letting him go. Don't worry about that. Isak's going nowhere. At least for me, I've got no plans of letting Isak go. But it shows that teams are out there looking for a striker, and Liam Delap is someone that a lot of people are talking about, and Newcastle are included. I think we need to try and finish the season strong. I said this already. I started kind of romanticising the idea of kind of Europa League conference as the idea of playing some different teams, different competition, maybe some strange away days. It's not going to be like city centres. It will be maybe teams that you haven't heard of or haven't played before. But in reality, as I say, in terms of football, in terms of keeping Isak happy, keeping Tonali happy, keeping Bruno happy, bringing players in, Champions League is the one. And then, once we hopefully have that, we move into the transfer window. Newcastle United undoubtedly have not strengthened as much as we would have hoped in recent windows. You look at the Villa game at the weekend, even bringing Rashford in on loan, how much of an impact? He's had a massive impact for Villa the second half of this season. We didn't do anything. We haven't strengthened our starting 11 in ages. They just went out, and fair enough, his wages sound like they're a lot. And we don't really know where Newcastle are for that right now. But yeah, we need to go out and strengthen. We need to do something. And striker is a position that is still being talked about, despite, as I mentioned already, having Alexander Isak, one of the most wanted, one of the most expensive, and I think potentially one of the best strikers in the world. We are still out in the market. Which does raise a question as to kind of where we are. Because I think if you said, we're going to go and look for a right winger, and this is the thing, it's interesting, isn't it? Because no one's talking about centre mid, are we? We're not talking about centre mid. We've got Tonali, we've got Bruno, we've got Joe Linton. Well, we've got Isak. But it's behind Isak. Callum Wilson. There's rumours that he's going to get a new deal. I can't see it to be true. And if it is, it must be on a pay to play. But even then, if Wilson's fit, you would still want to play Isak. And then you look at Asula, And I think for me, people have said send Asula on loan. I don't think that's the right call. I think he's in the right place. I think he's playing with the likes of Isak. He's playing with Tonali, Bruno. He's playing with some great players. I know he's not 18 anymore. He's like 21, 22. But I still think he's... And maybe that's just it. Maybe it is just that... I think we should be giving him more game time. Don't get me wrong. When we're winning, 4-0, 4-1, we've been scoring goals, haven't we, recently? Two goals, 3 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals. We've been scoring goals. He's not getting 5 minutes, So I think we should be playing him. I think we should let the poor lad have a go. When he has played, he's been all right. You assume it's because Eddie Howe doesn't think he's ready for the Premier League. He's played in cup games. He's done well against Bromley, done well against Birmingham. But it's hard to argue he's not ready when he's not getting a chance. But at least I'm not seeing him on the training ground every day. Maybe Eddie Howe knows fine well that he's not ready. So we've got Asula who's not ready. We've got Callum Wilson who you assume won't get a new deal. And we've got Isak. And when Isak's fit, he's going to play and we'll want him to play every game. But undoubtedly, you need more than one player in every position. You talk about Jacob Murphy. Jacob Murphy's been fantastic this season. And it feels so harsh when you say, well, we need to look at a right winger. Because the guy's just got the second most assists in the league to Salah. And you could argue, technically Murphy isn't like the best, but he's putting the goal returns in, he's putting the assists in. So really to say, we're going to move someone at the opposition's harsh. But Murphy's the only right winger we've got. We're shoehorning Barnes over there. We're shoehorning Gordon over there. We've needed some competition in that position for a while. And I think the same relates to Alexander Isak. Alexander Isak doesn't have any competition. He's got Wilson, he's got Asula. The pair of them seem to be not ready or players that, well, Wilson's case get moved on. Asula maybe not ready yet. As much as I don't think Isak needs a kick up the backside, I think he's played very, very well regardless. But to know that you're head-to-head with another player will always push you to be better. And it also provides support in that position. He's training with someone day in, day out. And should he be injured or unavailable, we actually have another option. It's not, we'll have to play somebody else here, have to play somebody else there. And, God forbid, we might play 2 up front for a change. If we are losing, we have another option. And that's why Newcastle are being linked with Delap, 30 million player, and, 60 million Wolves player, Cunha, as well. And are Newcastle really going to splash out that amount of money when we already have Isak? We'll have to wait and see. I think Delap's great, actually. I think he's really good. And I think he also offers something a little bit different. Those 2 players that I've just mentioned there, they're not Isak. I would say they're not as good as Isak, but I would also say that they're not the same player as Isak. Isak isn't really someone who's going to... he's a great header of the ball when he can, but he doesn't really... He's not muscling players. Like, I've said this before, I think we should, if we have to, push Joe Litton further forward, let him get the knocks for Isak. We don't really do that as much as I would like. Isak's very much ball on the floor, sliding through passes. You need different options. I think Delap and Cunha are versatile. I think Isak's versatile as well, but just bringing another string to our bow, another tool in our box or whatever saying you want to use, having something different would work for us. The biggest question of it all, and you guys can answer it for me in the comments, is, are we going to, when we have, we're talking about a big transfer window this summer. That's what everyone's hoping for, a big summer this window. If we, let's say, have 100 million to spend, 30 million is a steal. So yes, I would spend 30 million on Delap. But that's 30 million on a position where we're bringing him in to potentially play second fiddle to Isak. Would he want to join us? And when you've got the likes of Chelsea, I've already mentioned it, Chelsea, Arsenal, there's plenty of teams looking for strikers. Would he choose Newcastle knowing that he would have to fit in behind a world-class striker? It's interesting. I really like the links. I really like Delap. I really like the players. I would be interested to see if Newcastle did go for him, whether he would jump for it. Try to sell him the dream of, well, Isak's already here, so you'll be fighting with him, when he knows he could probably go to Arsenal, who have no strikers, and play immediately. It's a really interesting one. Let me know your thoughts on Delap and Cunha down in the comments below. Do Newcastle need a striker? Should we be paying, 30 to 60 million for one? Or is it a case of Isak's number 1, and maybe we look a different route maybe another young striker to sit with a Sula. So it could be a Sula and maybe another young striker. I mean, Delap's still young as well. So yeah, but I guess maybe bringing someone in who is more happy to sit in, or it is a really interesting one. So let me know your thoughts and comments down below. I will be there on Saturday. Fingers crossed to win all of the usual content, videos, instant reactions and everything else. So be sure to drop a follow and subscribe if you don't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on Saturday.